We already covered our favorite bets in the SEC this week, so now we're on to our best bets. Jake, I'm starting off with the game I will be at. It's Michigan at Nebraska. The spread is 17. The last time Nebraska played Michigan, it was a blowout. It was in Ann Arbor, but Nebraska didn't have a head coach in place. The energy was a little off. Rewind to 2021 when Michigan came to Lincoln. Michigan barely escaped with a 3-point win. The same year that they made the college football playoff, the same year Nebraska only won 3 games. I don't care how bad Nebraska is. What I do care about is how they've been playing lately. There have been a lot of struggles with their quarterback play. Heinrich Harburg has looked fantastic. The run game has been dominant. Michigan has been slow to start every week, and I just don't think Nebraska is going to let this one slip away the way that they did Colorado and, I mean, Minnesota, realistically, since they gave up so many turnovers, and that was the ultimate letdown at the very end. I don't like Nebraska to win for obvious reasons, but I love Nebraska to fight all the way through, play really solid defense, and get the crowd into it to come away with, say, a 14-point loss, 13-point loss, something closer than 17. So taking the points here, love Nebraska at home.
Yeah, Nebraska 2 years ago really kind of choked that game. They really had the win and threw it away at the very end. Nebraska with Heinrich Hardberg, he had two really long touchdown runs last week called back on penalties. So even with his insane stat line, it could have been something like 300 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns. So he looked really impressive on the ground. Obviously, Michigan's run defense is insane, much better than Louisiana Tech's. But Nebraska's defense has been very solid to start the year as well. Like you said, Michigan's gotten off to a bunch of slow starts. I think both defenses are going to be the strengths of the teams this game. Both teams are going to try to run the ball. And I like the under in this game.
Yeah, the under's pretty low at 44, and you can take the under on BroThrow plus 100 odds. You sign up in the description box below. It's brothrow.com/YouTube, and when you get there, that'll get you into the site. It's no fee required to sign up if you want to place up to a $50 bet. And like I said, plus 100 odds, which means you're getting even money. Bet $10, win $10. There is no vig like a sports book would charge you. And again, sign up free from any state in the U.S. Next game up is Kansas at Texas. The spread is 16.5. This one moved. I think I saw it at Kansas 17.5 to open up.
Yep. And similar to Nebraska, Michigan, if you go back 2 years, what was the result of this game at Texas? Kansas upset them 57-56, and Lance Leipold's signature win as head coach of Kansas really launched the program forward. You got two stud quarterbacks in this game, Jalen Daniels for Kansas and Quinn Ewers for Texas. There's going to be a lot of offense in this game, but I think the difference is going to be for Kansas running back Neal. He's having an insane start to the season, averaging 7 yards per carry, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. And you got to remember, like last time that they played at Texas, this is the biggest game of the year for Kansas. This is their Super Bowl. This is the game that they're going all out, that they're breaking all the big plays in the playbook for. 16.5, 17, 17.5. It's too many points. I think Kansas is going to be competitive. I don't know if they're going to win. I think they have a shot like 2 years ago. I'm not going to go that far, but I'll take the points. Give me plus 16.5 for Kansas.
My only fear is everybody's on Kansas. That's why the line's moving. But my fear is that because Texas knows this is a good Kansas team, and in the past, it hasn't been a good Kansas team. I think it was like 3 out of the last 4 games were 1, 2, and 7-point win margins. So they're close, but it's because Texas plays down to the level of their competition. This time, Texas knows they're a legitimate threat. They're going to play a lot tighter. For that reason, I can't take the spread, but I do like the over with you. Not an official play, but that is something I'll lean and maybe add in later. Next is Illinois at Purdue. It's a pick 'em. You've got Ryan Walters, former coach under Brett Bielema, who's the head coach at Illinois. Purdue's off to a slow start. I took them against Wisconsin last week, and they looked so bad beating themselves the entire way through. But against Illinois, there's no doubt they're going to have the better QB, and they're going to have a head coach who knows the offense they're going up against really well. So I know Walters wants to win bad since he's going back to Illinois for the first time since he was a coach there. And that team is so turnover prone that he's going to do whatever it takes to force some interceptions and basically win the turnover battle. And I've talked about it on my show. The Big Ten West is so bad. It's not about winning it. It's about surviving it. So is this an under spot since both could run it more and just try to avoid turning it over and try to escape with a 1-score win? I'm not sold on that. I think Purdue's going to come out. They're going to attack the D through the air. They're going to torment the offense and try to find ways to force those picks, like I said. And at the end of it, they're going to find a way to win because they want to do it for their coach.
I agree that this game is going to 100% come down to coaching. And a game like this, where it's a super tight spread, a pick 'em in this case, it really going to come down to which coach is more experienced and knows what it takes to get the win. For that reason, I'm leaning towards Bielema and Illinois, especially because this game is at Purdue. So that kind of gives them an extra 3 points on the line for the home field advantage. So Vegas is kind of intimating with this line that Illinois on a neutral site is the better team and would be favored. I don't think Purdue's home field advantage is anything significant. Their fans there are not anything special for the Big Ten. They certainly don't compare to Nebraska or Indiana fans for that matter. So I'm leaning towards Illinois in this spot.
Next up is Michigan State at Iowa, another Big Ten matchup. Pretty sizable spread for a team who got blown out and didn't score a point last week. What are you thinking about Iowa?
Yeah, normally if you were to tell me, hey, there's a team who only had 76 yards of total offense and scored 0 points, and you have to give 12 and a half points away, are you interested? It would be a fat no. But that's before you told me that they were playing Michigan State. In the 2 weeks since they've fired Mel Tucker, we've been against them both weeks, and it's been blowout covers both times. Michigan State hasn't even hit double digits yet in a game without Mel Tucker. This line opened at 8 points and has gone all the way up to 12 and a half. So everyone's on Iowa, and so am I. I know it's the square pick, but the Iowa played so bad against Penn State last week that now their season point total average has gotten even lower. Brian Ferentz needs to be 25 points a game, so he's got to get that up. Michigan State's given up 30 points back-to-back week. They've scored 9 back-to-back week. I just can't take Michigan State at all right now. You can give me 20 points in this game, and I'll take Iowa.
Iowa's gone under in all games except for, I think, one. So do you like the under here, or do you think this is when they run it up on them?
I wouldn't take the under here exactly because I think they could try to run it up. I think Michigan State might be able to get 7 or 10. I wouldn't be surprised if they got 0. I don't think Iowa was going to get 38 by themselves. Them running it up is still like 24, 28 points. So
Fair.
under's not a bad play, but I would rather just lay the 12 and a half right now.
I'm going to ride Iowa with you because I hate Michigan State. My favorite bet of the week. So odd. I would never usually say Louisiana Tech and UTEP would be my game of the week, but I watched Louisiana Tech play Nebraska, and their backup QB Jack Turner was electric against a really solid Nebraska defense. And he threw for almost 300 yards, and his top receiver was going for 17 yards a catch, and I think he had over 100 himself. Their defense is physical and that can keep them in games, but the real threat is the pass attack because it's so deadly and the receivers are so fast. So I'm going to have to bet on them in their first game after a really respectable 14-point loss to, I don't want to call them a good Big Ten school, but a decent Big Ten school. UTEP's only impressive game was against Incarnate Word, and they've been blown out by almost every other team they played. So the offense ranks 123rd in scoring and 96th in yards per game. I just cannot see them keeping up with a Sonny Cumby heavy pass attack.
Yeah, I bet on UTEP earlier this year in one of those blowout losses, and they looked very, very bad. I didn't watch a ton of the Louisiana Tech Nebraska game. I was living between all the games, but they have some very good receivers, like you said. It seems like they have the talent advantage for sure, coaching advantage, and iron sharpens iron. They just went against one of the best defenses in the country. It's going to be a lot, well, at least comparatively to UTEP.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even numbers wise, Nebraska's defense is very, very solid.
Yeah, they're I think number 1 in rushing defense nationally. Pass defense, they're slipping up a little bit since they played 2 heavy pass attacks in Colorado and Louisiana Tech, but either way, it's a formidable opponent. Last up is Notre Dame at Duke. Duke is getting 5.5 points at home at night. And Notre Dame's coach, Marcus Freeman, made a funny comment in the presser, almost like he was intimidated or frustrated by the fact that he has to go on the road at night again since they've played so many night games. So what are you thinking about Duke trying to pull the upset?
Well, if Marcus Freeman didn't want to be in big time, prime time, night ranked matchups, then he shouldn't have accepted the job at Notre Dame because that's what it is there. But you know what? Notre Dame in these primetime games, when the last 9 games against a ranked opponent, Notre Dame is 9-0 against the spread. Duke, on the other hand, is on a 7-1 streak against the spread. So these are 2 very hot teams. Notre Dame did kind of get a cover last week if you got 3.5. I ended up getting more on 3.5 after the 3 from the video. So push, win. Either way, I'm happy with how Notre Dame did because I'm not a Notre Dame fan, so I don't really care that they lost. Notre Dame's also on a 12-0 straight-up streak against ACC teams. And I think Marcus Freeman is really going to get his guys super hyped up and ready to go after last week. They got a new quarterback in Sam Hartman now, and this is their first loss. I think he's going to respond super strongly after a loss because he knows that this is their time to win and get themselves staying alive for the college football playoff. Because if they run the table from here on out, they're still alive. I think their defense is too much. I think that they're going to be too well coached, and the talent for Notre Dame is just too much. That even though Duke, who's been a formidable team, especially at home, should put up a fight, I'm going to lay the points and take Notre Dame here.
Yeah, the Duke win over Clemson looked a lot better a couple weeks ago, and now that Clemson's dropped 2, and they could end up being a 3 or 4 loss team this year, I'm not so sold on them coming out and competing in this spot. I think Notre Dame's frustrated. I think they felt like they should have won last week. There were some stupid errors, like having too many guys on the or not enough guys on the field for that last play of the game. So give me Notre Dame. I'm riding that one with you. But Jake, thank you for the picks. Can't wait to watch the games this week.